are strong, resilient people who always strive to overcome challenges confronting us in our daily lives. And sometimes these challenges are economic in nature. That is why you find out that people are willing to do just about anything to make ends meet and fend for themselves. In recent times, one of such ways of making money and fending for one's family is through Ponzi schemes. Now, the question is, what are these Ponzi schemes? How do the people operate these Ponzi schemes? And why is it that despite a lot of setbacks that are usually associated with the schemes, you still find out on a daily basis that a lot of people keep engaging in these schemes when they crop up? All those questions and more we are going to be finding answers to on this edition of Indepth on ABS Television. My name is Priska. Welcome back to the program Indepth on ABS Television. I have two gentlemen in the house. The first person is Kennedy Ibe. Kennedy Ibe is the CEO, Greenwide Technology Limited. Welcome to the Indepth.
Thank you.
And I also have Emeka Franklin Omaliko. He is a member Youth Advocacy for Justice Network. Hello and welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and today, just before the break, I introduced that what we're going to be discussing today is Ponzi schemes. There's been an increase in Ponzi schemes, and one would think that with the setbacks usually associated with this kind of schemes, people might learn their lesson and avoid them. When you find out that one new scheme comes up and you see a lot of people rushing into the schemes. That is why today we are here to lend our voices to this conversation and find out what can be done to curb the tide. All right, so I'm starting with you, Kennedy. Why do you think people actually get involved in Ponzi schemes in the first place?
The reason people get involved in Ponzi scheme is that people want to take chances. Or maybe we should even try to really let people know what Ponzi scheme is all about.
Okay.
Because sometimes people go into it mistaking it to be an investment. People need education, as a matter of fact, to know what to invest in and what not to invest in. So we'll talk about Ponzi scheme. What exactly are we talking about? Some people come up with idea. You bring your money, then come back next month, and you collect a double of your money. That's a form of Ponzi scheme. Or some people can set up something, bring your money today, tomorrow come and collect double of your money. Now they make you understand that there are businesses they are doing with the money. So at the end of the day, they make profits and they are able to pay you. But what you don't understand is they are actually waiting for other people to bring in money so they can use it to settle you. Then if by tomorrow they receive a lot of money according to the standard they had predefined, so they say, we've gotten what we want. So they close the business at that particular point. So other people that are coming, or people that have already brought in their money will now be tied up with it. So that is a Ponzi scheme. Any business somebody sets up in order to lure people to bring in their money with a promise that they are going to receive maybe double or whatever in a few days' time or in a month's time. But they had that intention of collecting this money from people and closing that particular business. So I like people to understand what we mean by Ponzi scheme. So why do people do Ponzi scheme? Now, if you are a good investor, as a matter of fact, you can make profit from Ponzi scheme.
Wow.
If you understand timing. Yes, because every Ponzi scheme has to deal with timing. Now, when they set up a Ponzi scheme, and you are a good investor, you understand Ponzi scheme, you can make your calculations right. You can be among the first person to give them money. Then, when you receive your profits, which they hope you will now become a testimony to other people to bring in their money, then at that particular point, you give them your money, you collect it, and you sit back and watch others to go in and lose their money. I tell you the truth, there are a lot of investors that are making profits not from creating Ponzi scheme, but taking advantages of Ponzi scheme that just came out, and they make their profits and go. So, but the problem there is that a lot of people who don't understand what Ponzi scheme is all about mistake it to be an investment scheme, and they go in with their money only for it to tie their money. So the reason why people go into Ponzi scheme is just much. People want to increase their finances, and many people don't want to labor. They don't want to go into a business and do all the calculation. So they prefer somebody to say, bring your money, I'll do the calculation for you, I'll do the investment for you, just come back and collect your profit. And that's what people like. So irrespective of whatever Ponzi scheme is doing, people still go in because of this mentality. They just want to increase their money.
Okay. All right.
So far, I'm not encouraging anybody to partake in that loom and MMM stuff. Anything Ponzi scheme, I don't advise anybody to involve his or herself in it, because it's something that you don't know when it's going to end, and it has a lot of disadvantages, and it can make somebody to go into depression, and from there you will commit suicide. You know how people commit suicide these days. So to me, it's not encouraging at all. I'm not encouraging anybody to do such.
So, Emeka, what are the factors that are responsible for the growth of those schemes, even right here in Nigeria? You see people experience setbacks in some of them, and a new one comes up every day, and you still see people rushing in despite the setbacks they might have experienced in the past.
Well, the reasons are multifactorial. In other words, there are many reasons, but some really is tied to the economic reality of the moment, and by extension, it extends to the employment situation in the country. You find out that the preponderance of unemployment, and then the fact that there is also this evidence of make quick money syndrome. These things culminate into what happens. And again, of course, you need to avert your mind to the fact that people naturally want to gain more than they have. It's just normal. And the fact that some Nigerians have been proven to be like they are credulous, they are gullible, they easily believe, and they are easily swayed by things in a bid to make more money. So no matter the angle you come from, it still boils down to the economic realities of the moment. The fact that there is economic problem, the fact that we may refer to what we call economic muscle pull, as the case may be. People believe that this is the easiest way to get that money within a short period of time. But the problem sometimes we tend to make people to understand is that the nature of the business is wrong. The business is pregnant with danger, and that is what people don't understand. Ponzi itself, as the name suggests, is fraudulent. It's a fraudulent platform whereupon people are induced to make financial commitments in such a way as to the initial investors will now gain from later investors. And of course, it's a case of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And at the end of the day, the same Paul is robbed equally. So the factor that results to that in Nigeria is glaring to everybody. There is no money. There is economic problem.
Okay,
there's no job. So these are the factors that gave birth to that.
So how do the operators of this Ponzi scheme actually get people to participate in their scheme? And this is somebody that, for instance, invested in one Ponzi scheme and failed, and another one comes up, and somebody comes to you and talks to you and tells you about it, and you still go on to invest. How do these people get people to actually invest in this scheme?
What they do is that they use people you know. If you have a closer look, you observe that most of the persons that talk to you initially are either friends or family members or acquaintances. You understand? And the contemporary period we are operating in, social media, it is very easy. There are enough channels, there are ample channels to reach people. So the strategy, the plans, the techniques are just there to get people. So that even when it appears you had issue with a previous one, they will begin to build your confidence using family members and friends. So it becomes very easy for them to tap into that gullibility of the people.
Kennedy, you know, a lot of people argue that there is a very strong relationship between the economy of any country and the growth of Ponzi schemes in that country. What's your take on this?
Actually, Ponzi scheme is not just a Nigerian thing.
Yeah, that was
it
why I said
exists,
any country.
yes, in any country. But The reason why it is thriving in this part of the world is because the government does not understand how to checkmate it. In advanced country, where the system has been able to checkmate some of them and get some of them arrested and jailed, and if you come to that country, you see that the rate of Ponzi scheme coming up there is very low. Why? Because if you must do it, you have to be very sophisticated in order to do it. But in Nigeria, people can just come create a WhatsApp group and say, bring in money, and you can see the name of the person that created the WhatsApp group. The Ponzi scheme is only existing in that WhatsApp group. The person even posts his or her phone number in that WhatsApp group.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, people give that person money, and at the end of the day, the Ponzi scheme crashes. But nothing really is done about it. So it's not really about the economy, but about the system itself that has refused to checkmate it. Now, let me also add something. Like I told you, the Ponzi scheme itself, there are some people, some investors that understand Ponzi scheme, and they take advantage of it, and they are making profit from it. So those people are actually on the lookout for a new Ponzi scheme they are going to invest their money in and pull it out before it crashes.
Well, so what are they doing differently that other people are not doing, and which causes them to lose money? What are
Yes. You see,
doing?
now let me tell you one thing. In every investment, there are chances that you are going to lose your money.
Okay.
It's very certain. You understand? That's why they come up with accredited investors, sophisticated investors. Now, normally in an investment settings, if you must go public to ask people to bring in money, there are certain criteria you must meet. You have to register it and do certain things. But there are what we call accredited investors or sophisticated investors. These are people you can actually approach without even needing to register your investment, the shares and everything. You meet these people and you can actually get money from these people to invest in your business. And these people understand that that investment is high reward and high risk. But the government allow you to do that because they believe that if you are an accredited investor, you have the ability to resist the shock if that particular business crashes. So there are certain criteria. There's no place you go and get certificates to be an accredited investor. But there are certain financial status you must attain. Then all of a sudden you are an accredited investor. So you can invest in this high gain, high reward, and high risk business. So Ponzi is also a kind of high gain or high reward and high risk business. But on this particular ground, it is not regulated by anybody. So anybody can just come up with any idea and promise anything. At the end of the day, it closes like that. So, but those people who are investors, who understand the game, they know that this is a game. There is a way you calculate the lifespan of a Ponzi. So this one will only stay 1 month. This will only stay 1 week. If you actually understand the game, then you go in and put in your money within the lifespan of the Ponzi, and you pull out your money and you are watching others to lose their money. So just understand this fact that even though Ponzi is a fraudulent business, some investors are making profit from it. While many other people, 90 to 99% of others, are losing their money in it.
I personally don't like it because I don't like gambling. I want straightforward things. So I'm not interested in such, and I will never be. Someone will have to suffer it eventually because it doesn't continue, it doesn't last.
Okay, so have you ever been a victim of a Ponzi scheme, or did you make money, or did you lose money to a Ponzi scheme?
Actually, we have our statistics that we're using to calculate the lifespan of a Ponzi scheme that comes out.
Personally, did you gain or did you lose?
Personally, I have made profit from Ponzi scheme.
Wow, interesting.
Yes, I've made profit. And if I've lost anything in Ponzi scheme, actually I've lost anyway. But it's as a result of miscalculation. So it's not like I didn't know that the Ponzi scheme will crash. Okay. I knew it's going to crash, but I didn't calculate the lifespan properly. So, but I want everybody to understand this thing, that every Ponzi has a lifespan.
Okay, all right.
This area I want us to approach this issue from.
All right.
When you talk of lifespan of a Ponzi scheme, it is never definite. It is uncertain, such that you cannot calculate it.
Oh, wow.
Because the idea of Ponzi itself demonstrates illegality. For you to say Ponzi, you're talking about something that is illegal. In other words, in the eyes of the law, it is not recognized. It is not registered. These operators are faceless. We don't know them. They cannot be traced. So in times of conflict or issues cropping up as a result of such transactions, you cannot even trace them. And there's another interesting thing about this. The Nigerian Criminal Code, talking about section 419, is very clear on people that obtain money from printers, false pretense. When you obtain this money, you are more or less an offender. Whether you are obtaining the money by virtue of being an operator or a participant, both of you are parties to the offense. For instance, look at the current Ponzi scheme called Loom. It is designed in such a way that when you get involved, you now reach out to your family members, to your friends. You're already aware that this is fraudulent. You're already aware that it will definitely collapse. In other words, you're a scam yourself. And you still go on, get people involved, people that are very close to you. In other words, aiding and abetting those people that initiated the idea in the first place. So you want to get your own money and then leave them hanging so that by the next minute, they themselves lose the money. So in that circumstances, are you not a party to the offense? So the idea of Ponzi is the fact that it is not recognized. Of course, there are other gambling avenues. Okay. We have, for instance, the National Lottery Regulation Commission regulates lottery in Nigeria. We have Bet Nigeria. These ones are very much regulated to the extent that the law knows of them. The law knows that these ones exist. They have address. They are traceable. But these Ponzi schemes are not. And therefore, I don't advise anybody to be part of it.
Comments, Kennedy. We are going to go get some of the views of people out there because we got to meet with some people that have been victims of Ponzi scheme and they got to share their experiences with us. So we're going to see that.
In 2017, I invested in MMM that was owned by Modruvi, and the person who actually forced me or kind of persuaded me to invest in it was my girlfriend. So I put in 20,000 naira, and I was hoping that I would get at least 50,000 naira. So after a week, I did not get referrals. The money went just like that, and it was very painful for me. Even I could not barely handle it because 20,000 was something I wanted to use to do with many things. I had many plans with it, and it just went like that.
I joined MMM 2017 back then when I was in school. It was kind of crazy. I was in school, I think I was in 300 level in school. So I sold my laptop to buy another one, a bigger one. So on that way, I met my friend, he told me about MMM. And it was a kind of a great idea. So I invested the money for my laptop into it, hoping to get a big return later. Then later everything crashed. I was like, oh God, what will I do now? I can't go back home. I can't go back home without that laptop, and my parents were gonna kill me for that. So I think everyone should be careful about the stuff online, investing money about everything.
I got involved in a Ponzi scheme during the MMM era. I invested a lot of money because I was convinced by my friends, some of my friends that were doing it, my lodge mates and all. So I invested a lot of money. I even invested my school fees. Then I thought, gradually it was showing me that there was money coming out. So I convinced my family, my brothers, even my dad to join. So they all invested their money, but that was the moment when it actually crashed. So they lost their money. Even some distant friends that I convinced to join, they joined and they lost all their money. Then it was very, very difficult because I lost a whole lot of money, like a very huge amount of money. My family lost money at that same period. And then those distant friends that I convinced to join the scheme actually came back. Most of them came back looking for me, saying that I had scammed them and I was the one that planned to make away with their money and all of that. So it was a very terrible and painful experience for me and everything. It was really, really, really terrible.
You're welcome back to the program. This is your Indepth on ABS Television. Well, you've heard from the people's experiences concerning this Ponzi schemes. And now, would you advise that these things keep happening? But of course, we have our analyst in the house. Okay, Kennedy, you are talking to us just off camera about different types of Ponzi schemes that are currently ongoing now. Could you explain more?
Yes, like my colleague here cited Loom.
All right.
Now, Loom encourages you to go and get your family members to join. Okay. In that case, going to get your family members to join. You are part of the Ponzi. There's another one that just came out. It's called Cash Look Cooperative. They don't tell you go and get your family members, but what they do is just give us. We have the advertisement strategy. So your own is to put in your resources, and if you are lucky enough, you are putting it within the lifespan of the Ponzi. You get it back. Then if you are not lucky enough, you are putting it within the time that the Ponzi is already collapsing. At the end of the day, your money is gone. Now, I'm not really advising people to go into Ponzi. In fact, I can't advise anybody to go into investments except you have actually acquired some education on investments. Because every investment, like I said, has in it the potentials of you losing that particular money. That's why government had to come up with the regulations and coming up with accredited and sophisticated investors. Okay. So, but the bottom line is this. You can make money even from Ponzi, but your chances of losing money is more than your chances of gaining money. Okay. But if you come in within the lifespan of the Ponzi, definitely you'll be among the people to make profit from that Ponzi.
You're smiling. Is there a particular reason for the smile on your face?
No, not particularly. It appears he has a point, quite all right, but I'm very much concerned in certain areas. For instance, Ponzi by its nature is like I said earlier, is pregnant with dangers. When you look at the fallout of victims of this, you begin to see the reason why this thing should not be in the first place. Okay. For instance, somebody that engages in that and becomes a victim does not just suffer the financial loss. There are tendencies for the person to have both health and psychological implications. The person may result to depression, anger, sadness, high blood pressure, to the extent that, of course, negative emotions, family conflict, to the extent that the person may start having insanity or suicidal tendencies. Of course, you know the current trend about suicidal tendencies at the moment. So I don't encourage the public to dabble into that. It is very dangerous.
And are there laws that actually regulate the activities of these Ponzi schemes? If there are no laws, would you support promulgation of laws that will help check the existence and the upsurge in Ponzi schemes?
Like I hinted earlier, Ponzi by its nature, for you to say that something is a Ponzi scheme, that means there's no law regulating it. Okay. If there should be a law regulating it, then you will take away the Ponzi from the scheme. By saying Ponzi scheme, it means that the law does not know of it. Because there are other gambling platforms that the law recognizes. For instance, like I said, we have our lottery commission that regulates lottery in Nigeria. Lottery is a form of gambling. We have people that go to football betting companies. It's regulated. They have address. These people, we know them. We can sue them. They are legal persons. But in case of Ponzi, we don't know them. There's no address. They are faceless. They cannot be traced. So that becomes a problem. So what the government and other stakeholders should do is actually to look for a means of clamping down on these syndicates, the people that initiate this, because the intent for the initiation is always fraudulent. They already have it at the back of their mind that they are, at some point in time, they will abscond and the structure will collapse. They already know that.
Okay, all right. Finally, Kennedy, you mentioned government and people regulating and fighting the activities of these Ponzi schemes. In your own opinion, what do you think we can do to checkmate the increase in Ponzi schemes in Nigeria before we go?
The only thing we can do is exactly what we are doing now, educate people on what Ponzi scheme is all about. But the truth remains that the nature of the Ponzi scheme that is coming out now is actually difficult to regulate. Why? Because let's take something like MMM, for example. Now, the the nature is this. You go to MMM, you voluntarily say, okay, I want to give in money. They say, okay, give money to this person. And you give money to that particular person. At the end of the day, they also instruct people to give to you. So if you want to clamp down on these people, is it the person who gave money and money was given to you that you are going to go and arrest? Are you getting the thing? Yeah. So he was smart enough probably to operate his own the game within the lifespan of that particular game. So other people that will come at a later time definitely will lose money. So the best approach to this particular thing is educate the people. If you must invest in anything, Ponzi is not what you should consider. But if you think you are smart and you can calculate the lifespan of a Ponzi scheme, you can always go in within the lifespan and go out. But that is the truth.
All right. All right. Okay, thank you very much. We want to thank Kennedy Ibe, CEO, Greenwire Technology Limited. Thank you for coming on the program.
Thank you very much.
And of course, Emeka Franklin Omaliko, member, Youth Advocacy for Justice Network. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
It is good to take risks, like some people say that in order to succeed, certain amounts of risk is required, but it is to be careful of the kind of risk that you are taking in order to avoid more troubles for yourself. Till next time on Indepth on ABS Television, my name is Priska.